Well, hi everyone, and welcome to Buffett and Beyond Research Stock of the Week. And the news is Buffett buys ULTA Beauty. Yes, Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway has gone in and bought ULTA Beauty, and the stock shot up just the other day. And remember, folks, if you want to live on this beach like Jimmy Buffett, you've got to learn how to invest even better than Warren Buffett. And for those of you who want more information on these stocks and listen to our daily letter, go to our website, buffettandbeyond.com, and get a full month free subscription. You get 4 letters during the week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and then 3 videos each weekend. Just need your name and email, no credit card or anything. Buffettandbeyond.com, and don't forget, Buffett is spelled with 2 F's and 2 T's. All right, folks, we'll see you there. And let's talk about ULTA Beauty. Well, ULTA, formerly ULTA Salon, operates specialty retail stores selling cosmetics, fragrance, hair care, skin care products, and salon services. And folks, that's where a lot of the action takes place, because it does have the salon services. And boy, when I went to visit ULTA, that's where everybody was hanging out, back in there. And it's a whole girl thing, believe me. And it offers more than 25,000 products. Can you imagine being the manager of one of these stores and keeping track of that inventory? Well, from more than 600 established and emerging brands across a variety of categories, price points, including its own private label, the ULTA Beauty Collection. And the company has about 1,355 stores in 50 states, and these stores are increasing, and also distributes products through its website. And that's very, very, very important, because where does everybody go? Everybody goes to Amazon and says, can I order that same thing cheaper? And they also have mobile applications, have 18,500 full-time employees. So it's a pretty big company, folks. And let us look at a brief 4-year average. Now, usually we do 5-year average on this, but I'm going to show you why in a second. But for now, let's look at the clean surplus ROE. Yeah, about 21.5%, averaging over 5 years. Not quite what 2025 predicts, but we'll see. And then net income about the same as the average stock. So again, the green lines are represent ULTA Beauty. The blue lines represents the average stock in the S&P 500 and another 200 or 300 stocks that we keep in our database. And then revenue is higher than the average stock, almost twice as high as the average stock. So that's very, very important. You want that money coming in, or else if you don't have money coming in, it can't flow to the bottom line, or not much can flow to the bottom line. So it's ahead in all areas over the past 4 years. Let's take a look at 5 years. Well, let's come down here to 2020, and folks, yeah, that was COVID. And when we look at 2020, and let's look at the clean surplus return on equity. Well, first, let's look at the net income. We can see in 2019 they were making $12.15, and then in 2020, when most of the stores were shut, had to be shut, dropped down to $3.11, and then 2021 they started regaining themselves once again. So here is the 5.1% in the return on equity, and you can see how it dropped from 25, then went right back up to 28%, all the way up. But for 2025, we're having a little trouble with this number, but people think that this number will be raised, or the net income will be raised, which will raise the clean surplus return on equity. But when we see a drop like that, and look in here, it was 29%, 24%, 20%, now down to 18.7%. So as we look at it for our growth portfolio, we see a declining ROE, which means the company is making money, but it's making money at a decreasing rate rather than a consistent rate or an accelerating rate. So we would rather see this clean surplus return on equity be steady or be rising. And that's why we took it out of our growth portfolio some time ago. Retention rate, good thing, 100%. It's taking all the money it's making, putting it back into new stores. And now let's look at the net income growth and the revenue growth for these 2 years, for 2024 and 2025. And this is where the average is dropping down. And let's come down here, because 2020, again, negative 74% net income growth. And then when it started opening the stores again, all of a sudden it shot up. So we that's why on the last slide we only have the 4-year average in here rather than the 5-year average, because this is very distorted because of COVID. So yeah, COVID 4 years ago is still coming back to haunt us. But we can see the net income growth has not been very good over the 2023, 2024, and 2025, expected to go up from 2024, but that's not really a nice income growth, because the average stock has a 13.5% net income growth. So we have to be very, very careful in here about this stock. And then revenue growth, the average company 7.1%. We're not seeing that revenue growth beating the average stock out there over these 2 years. That's why we don't have it in our growth portfolio. But why did Buffett's team suggest buying or start buying this stock? And one more thing before we go on, years to pay debt. It has no debt. So it's nice to have a company that has no debt. You don't have to worry about interest rates rising. Okay, let's look at 1 year, and the black line is the S&P 500, and you can see ULTA was doing very, very good, and then their numbers went down, and so did the stock. So we're looking at this stock down here, and it looks like it has turned the bottom. So as we look at this intermediate term indicator that we use down here, and we usually don't show on this video, on the individual stock video, but we're looking at why did Buffett's group go in and buy it just this past week? Well, they're looking at a resurgence here to get up to at least the average stock. So that's what Buffett's group is looking at as a buy in here. We would not buy it for the long term because of the prices that we mentioned and the revenue below the average stock, but I think Buffett's team is looking for a trade in here, and since it has so much cash, it might be able to do that and hold on to this for a couple of years. But don't forget, Buffett's feeling is that he wants to buy stocks that'll be around the next 10 years, next 15, 20 years. But we are looking at, you can buy a lot of these products on Amazon, so there is competition out there, and it's transparent competition, because we could go to other sites and buy those products. So that's what worries us about ULTA. There's competition out there, and it's transparent competition when you go to the website. But again, we think, and this is just a thought, that Buffett's team is looking at a shorter term trade in this. And when we say shorter term trade, might be a couple of years, because it's got time to get all the way up to here. And they are thinking that retail is going to come back into vogue sooner or later, and we'll see, folks. But for us, we're not going into it. It's close. It's very close. Now, ULTA's a good stock. Don't get me wrong. It's a good stock, much better than average. But this year and next year, we're not so sure about better than average numbers. And in fact, these charts that we showed you are showing numbers that are less than the average stock. And when we look at 5 years, we can see, that it was tracking the S&P 500. It was below it for a while in here. Again, this is 5 years. And then all of a sudden, it started falling down. And it actually went up in 2022. This is 22 right in here. And the market had a difficult time in 2022, down almost 20%. And don't forget, the NASDAQ was down 34% during this time. And ULTA actually came up in there. The price came up. And so people were preempting this stock, or preempting a rise in this stock. They got it for a while, and then all of a sudden down. up again, this double top in here, and then it took the big fall. And I think Buffett's group is looking for a shorter term investment rather than an investment that goes on for years and years and years, as he usually does. So folks, we had a very good week this past week in our overall portfolio. Buffett is buying, or Buffett's group is buying, ULTA Beauty, and we're staying away from it, but it's still a good company. So go out there. We had a good week. Enjoyed the weekend. Keep your mind off the market. And folks, we'll see you back here on Tuesday. You stay safe. Have Sunday dinner with your family. And we'll see you back here on Tuesday.